Breathing difficulties, vomiting return to Pasir Gudang. Parents, employers should optimize a registry of sexual offenders. You're watching the evening edition of News on 2. I'm Adrian Seat. Hours after classes resumed today, students at several schools in Pasir Gudang, Johor began experiencing breathing difficulties, nausea and vomiting similar to the symptoms experienced during the air pollution incident which affected 18 schools 10 days ago. It was learned that so far that some 130 students from 15 schools and 3 teachers have been affected. According to State Health, Culture and Heritage Committee Chairman Muhammad Kuzan Abu Bakar, at least 30 students and 3 teachers have been sent to health clinics in the district for medical attention. He said most of the students who experienced the symptoms were in classrooms located at higher levels.
Pagi membaca daripada pagi tadi, dia punya baca tu reading turun naik. 0, 0.5, 1, 2 and then balik semula 0. So benda tu kita nak predict daripada mana benda tu lah kan. So dia based on angin.
Speaking to reporters at SK Kopo today, he said amongst the schools believed to be affected are SK Kopo itself, SMK Tanjung Puteri Resort, SMK Sri Alam 2, SK Taman Pasir Putih, SK Jenis Kebangsaan Tamil Ladang Sungai Pelentong, SMK Taman Nusa Damai and SK Taman Cendana. Meanwhile, Johor Education Director Azman Adnan said there will be no replacement school sessions for all 111 national and secondary schools closed in Pasir Gudang since last Tuesday due to air pollution which caused respiratory problems and vomiting amongst their students. Azman Adnan, however, said he would ensure that the schools make an alignment if there were any deficit in learning during the closure of the schools. Now, Azman also said that this was because teachers at the schools involved have been equipped with various alternative teaching materials and methods through various channels.
Thank you.
Bagaimanapun kita telah merancang untuk memastikan bahawa sekiranya berlaku defisit pembelajaran semasa tempoh cuti tempoh hari akan dibuat penjajaran oleh pihak sekolah lah melalui aktiviti-aktiviti pembelajaran yang tertentu. Itu kita serahkan kepada pengurusan sekolah. Dan saya ingat tak ada masalah kerana jumlah persekolahan untuk tahun ini mencukupi.
Speaking to reporters after visiting Sekolah Kebangsaan Pasir Gudang 4 today, Azman said that overall schools which reopened today operated as usual and students' attendance was good. He said at the same time, the State Health Department would also provide safety and prevention briefings to 18 schools today, including Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Tanjung Puteri Resort, SMK Taman Nusa Damai, SK Pasir Gudang 4 and SK Kopo. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail said there is a need for a long-term plan to resolve the pollution problems in Pasir Gudang in a comprehensive manner to prevent a recurrence of such incidents. She said a long-term solution is necessary as the pollution issue had affected the health of residents in the area. Now, speaking to reporters after closing the Welfare Department's 2019 Junior Leadership Program in Bangi, Selangor, Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Azizah said the government might have to think of ways to resettle the residents with the consent of the Sultan of Johor, Sultan Ibrahim Iskandar. She said the factors of economic output by the manufacturing industry in the area should also be considered when drawing up the long-term plan.
Namun, it is not easy because semua kelang-kelangan dalam persekitaran housing. So, you have to think of a long-term plan. But short-term plan is that to have the detection, to remove them from that place. And long-term plan is how to penempatan semula.
After these incidents, the Ministry of Energy, Science, Technology, Environment and Climate Change have implemented several short-term measures, including building automatic gas monitoring stations in the area. But this could not improve or provide a comprehensive solution in the long run because of the centralized location of factories and their proximity to residential areas. Police detained 31 youngsters, mostly school-going children, in an operation codenamed Ops Basika Lajak at Kampung Pohon Batu on Saturday. Labuan Police Chief Superintendent Muhammad Farid Ahmad said those detained were aged between 10 and 17 years old. Now, according to Superintendent Muhammad Farid, in the 2-hour operation at Jalan Pohon Batu Pancur Hitam, which began from 11 a.m. until 12:30 p.m., police inspected all the bicycles which had been modified and immediately issued 31 summonses. He said all the offenders were taken to the police station for questioning, and he added that the police later summoned their parents and reminded them to monitor their children as such illegal activities pose a risk to them and other motorists. Modified frames, spruced up handlebars, lowered front forks and safety brakes removed were some of the modifications done on bicycles used by school kids and teenagers in their dangerous Mat Lanja menace. Superintendent Muhammad Farid said that if the bicycle lanja activities are left unchecked, the teenagers will progress to the more dangerous illegal racing of Mat Rempit activities. An express bus driver suffered serious injuries while 5 passengers were also injured after the bus he was driving skidded before it turned a turtle. 18 other passengers escaped unhurt in the 6 a.m. incident yesterday at Jalan Cegar Perah in Kuala Lipis in Pahang. Now, Pahang Fire and Rescue Department Public Relations Officer Anwar Hassan, in confirming the incident, said the bus was on its way from Kuala Lipis heading towards Gua Musang in Kelantan. Upon receiving a distress call, 8 officers and personnel from the Kuala Lipis Fire and Rescue Station rushed to the scene to help the victims. Preliminary investigations revealed that the driver lost control of the bus before it skidded and crashed. All injured passengers were sent to the Marapo Health Clinic in Kuala Lipis for treatment, while the driver was sent to the Gua Musang Hospital. The body of the South Korean tourist who was swept out to open sea while swimming at a resort in Karambunai in Sepaga was discovered by fishermen early today. Sabah Fire and Rescue Department Operations Center Supervisor Muhammad Hazbi Hajat said the remains of Kyong Yung An, 18, was found in the waters of Kampong Gayang at about 6:30 a.m., some 4 kilometers away from where he was last seen on Friday. Now, a team was dispatched to retrieve the body before proceeding to hand over his remains to the police for further action. The operation ended at 8 a.m. Kyong was swept away by strong waves into deep waters while swimming with his friends at about 3:30 p.m. on Friday. When his friends noticed he was missing, they asked for help from resort workers to find him, but to no avail. One of them lodged a police report. A team of 18 firemen from the Kota Kinabalu Fire and Rescue Department was deployed to the scene for the search and rescue mission at 4 p.m. The second day of the SAR operation started at about 7 a.m. on Saturday. Now, the SAR team comprised personnel from the Sabah Fire and Rescue Department and its Water Rescue Team, Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency, Police Force, and the Civil Defence Department. Parents and persons who are directly involved with children are advised to fully utilize the Registry of Sexual Offenders Against Children, or EDKK. Now, Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail said the registry, introduced on the 1st of April this year, has so far received 68 applications from individuals and agencies to check on the background of their potential employees. Now, parents, employers should optimize a registry of sexual offenders. In her speech when closing the Welfare Department's Junior Khalifa program in Bangi, Selangor today, Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah said so far checks have been made against 1,254 names.
Sistem ini diwujudkan untuk membolehkan ibu bapa, individu, majikan yang mengambil seorang untuk menguruskan kanak-kanak, membuat semakan bagi memastikan individu tersebut tidak mempunyai sebarang rekod jenayah seksual terhadap kanak-kanak.
Meanwhile, Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Aziza, who is also Women, Family and Community Development Minister, said intervention programs to address social problems amongst children or the diversion program will be implemented in August in Sepang, Selangor and Seremban and Port Dickson in Negeri Sembilan. She said the project would be carried out to assess the suitability of the program, preparedness and the capabilities of the resources involved and to provide room for improvement prior to its implementation nationwide. The Deputy Prime Minister said the diversion program is an alternative approach to handle children with conflict with the law without going through the existing justice system. Malay Reserve land in Johor covers a total of 557,518 hectares as of April this year, from 557,287 hectares in December of last year. Menteri Besar Datuk Dr. Shahruddin Jamal said Kulai recorded the largest area, covering 75.64 hectares, followed by Kota Tinggi with 49.354 hectares and Pengerang at 34.54 hectares. Now, speaking during the State Assembly sitting today, Datuk Dr. Shahruddin said since Pakatan Harapan took over the state government until April this year, the size of the Malay Reserve land in Johor increased by 230.24 hectares.
Kerajaan negeri terus berusaha untuk memastikan tanah reserve Melayu terpelihara kerana perkara ini amat penting dalam menjaga hak orang Melayu. Sebagaimana termaktub di dalam lembaga persekutuan khususnya dalam bidang tanah, papanah dan perumahan.
He added that despite Johor being the main choice of investors, either local or foreign, the state government realized the importance of maintaining and ensuring Malay Reserve land will always be its priority. Youths are encouraged to join the Rukun Tetangga or RT sector in their respective housing areas to fill their free time and to expose themselves to community values. Deputy Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Datuk Dr. Farid Rafiq, said youth's involvement in managing the RT sectors could also train them to become future leaders.
Dalam KRT ini ramai pimpinan yang telah bergiat sekian lama, berpuluh tahun. Mereka mempunyai pengalaman yang cukup luas. Jadi saya minta anak-anak muda gunakanlah mereka untuk sama-sama mendapat pengalaman, mendapat ilmu bagaimana untuk memimpin, menggerakkan KRT-KRT di peringkat Karumbi. Bagaimana nak menjadi pemimpin masyarakat secara amnya.
Datuk Dr. Farid said about 30% of the 8,200 RT sectors nationwide were inactive due to various factors such as logistical and geographical constraints, while 20% were averagely active and efforts to reactivate them were being undertaken. He said a proposal had meanwhile been made to the government to increase the allocation for RT sectors, which currently received 6,000 ringgit per year each, which was insufficient to organize various programs and activities. Datuk Dr. Farid said this to reporters after officiating the North Zone level Semarak Perpaduan di Hati program and Aidil Fitri Open House hosted by the Perak National Unity and Integration Department in Ipoh today. Also present were Menteri Besar Datuk Sri Ahmad Faizal Azumu and about 2,000 other guests. National Home Ownership Campaign 2019 or HOC 2019 is extended for another 6 months until 31st of December. Now, Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng announced today that the extension of the campaign is to encourage home ownership amongst Malaysians and reduce the number of unsold houses. Lim said in a statement, besides the HOC incentives, the government has also made available incentives for first home purchases, stating that houses priced up to 300,000 ringgit can apply for stamp duty exemption on a memorandum on transfer and loan agreement, while houses priced between 300,000 ringgit and 500,000 ringgit can apply for the same stamp duty exemption, but limited to the first 300,000 for the house price. Lim said first home purchases made in the secondary market or from developers not registered with the REDA can also apply for stamp duty exemption under the HOC incentive. He said HOC has received a positive response and reception from the public as the stamp duty exemption incentives and discounts of at least 10% were able to reduce the cost of home ownership, especially for Malaysians who have never owned a home. Citing a report from the National Property Information Centre, Lim said that there were 2,313 units of unsold homes valued at 19.86 billion ringgit as at the fourth quarter of 2018. The HOC was launched in March and was initiated to increase home ownership and address the issue of unsold houses. And back on the local front, Perak stunned Pahang 3-0 in their second leg FA Cup semi-final match at Stadium Perak last night to qualify for the final on a 4-3 aggregate. The Perak squad under Mehmed Durakovic had lost to Pahang 1-3 in the first leg played at the Stadium Darul Makmur on the 22nd of June. Playing in front of more than 20,000 fans, the Bos Garus had their first look at goal in the 20th minute, but Muhammad Firdaus Sayadi's attempt was saved by Pahang goalkeeper Muhammad Helmi Eliza Ilyas. Perak continued to mount attacks and their efforts finally paid off in the 34th minute when Brendan Gunn headed in the ball off a corner kick taken by Muhammad Firdaus. The home team increased their lead when J. Parthiban beat Muhammad Helmi with an in-swinger to the right side of the Pahang goal in the 42nd minute. A minute later, Pahang's woes deepened as defender Muhammad Faisal Muhammad Rosli deflected the ball into his own goal while trying to clear a cross from Muhammad Nur Hakim Hassan. In the second half, Pahang came close to narrowing the gap in the 77th minute, but a free kick from 25 metres out by Singapore international Muhammad Safuwan Baharudin sailed over the crossbar. Jolted by this, Perak stepped up the pace and almost went 4 up in the 85th minute, but Parthiban's push falling across from Muhammad Nur Hakim was pushed out of the line by Muhammad Helmi. Play flowed from end to end after this, but the cross stayed at 3-0 until the final whistle. And that concludes this evening's edition of News on 2. In our top story, breathing difficulties, vomiting return to Pasir Gudang. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon for more news updates. Until then, I'm Adrian Seat. Thanks for watching.